Профессионализм учителя
Being a professional as a teacher needs much more than knowing your subject or knowing pedagogy. It is very important that a teacher has a good social capital and cultural capital, professional capital, and it all means a human capital.
это его и человеческий капитал.
Altogether, this builds the image of an ideal teacher who can actually give the child everything, exactly saying to unlock his potential.
Еще раз хочу сказать, его потенциал.
An Eastern proverb says that a person has three happiness. Who are your parents? The second happiness is who is your teacher. And third happiness is who will you go through life with and how you will behave. I think Gulnar has two first happinesses. I think she really was part of the team of teachers who were an example for her. The teachers I come across in my life, they influenced who I am now. I have always studied a lot. In 1995, we moved from the village to the city. It was time when we became an independent country of massive urbanization, and my parents were among the first who moved from the village to Astana, Akmola, at that time, in order to give a quality education to us. It means our parents were aware that education would give all the necessary opportunities and children would live successfully in the future. When they were in the 5th grade, I became their class teacher. Gulnar was very calm and straightforward. She was a class monitor, and she controlled the behavior of all children. She was always ready for class. She assisted me. She tried to fulfill whatever task I gave.
Әр уақытта қандай тапсырманы берсем де, соны сол уақытында орындауға тырысатын.
I loved my teacher very much. She differed from the other teachers in the way she dressed, the way she behaved, the way she conducted lessons. I think it somehow influenced me to start learning English because she forced us to translate Shakespeare into Russian and Kazakh so that we could understand and learn the original language more and could understand how to translate correctly.
Больше знали язык и могли понимать, как это можно правильно перевести. Ну, то есть
It wouldn't be reasonable to do that in 6th, 7th grade, but nevertheless, she improved our level with her approaches and teaching methods. I noticed that they liked me, so I always cared a lot about my looks to be a role model for them, because children should imitate someone. There should be a role model for them that they admire. When children come in, you determine at once which child has that potential. Since Gulnar is a teacher's child, the status is special. Children of teachers have a special status. The children of teachers are always responsible. Gulnar was very attentive and curious for knowledge when she heard the first English sounds. And she repeated the words after the teacher with such a feeling of joy. And it was clear that she liked it.
Первые английские звуки, и она с таким ощущением, с такой радостью повторяла за учителем слова, и понятно было, что ей это очень нравится.
I became a teacher by chance. I wanted to be a translator, to translate from English into Russian and Kazakh. I thought that I was enrolled for translation studies major. It turns out that it was the faculty of English language. I think I did not make a mistake in choosing profession because I have worked as a teacher for 14 years, but I have never regretted about it. This is a job that gives me strength, motivation, and inspiration. I I was one of those bright students to put the hope to. My first group graduated in 2012. 30 girls became English teachers. I am very proud of them. After all this, there was a boom. Nazarbayev intellectual schools were opening, and it seemed to me that I should be there. Innovations, interest, the best teachers there.
Мне казалось, я должна быть там. Инновации, интерес, самые лучшие учителя там.
Gulnar and I have known each other for a long time. We started working together in the Nazarbayev intellectual schools. She worked as a curator. I worked as a teacher. The school was new. We mastered all new methods of work, teaching methods. She was a favorite teacher of the children, and she was a curator as well. She taught a very large number of teachers. She worked with a number of authors and instructed them how to write textbooks of a new generation.
Для меня преподавание вообще
For me, teaching, the time I spent in the classroom, it has always been a pleasure for me. It's an incredible thrill. Working with children is super inspiring, keeps you in good shape. Every child is a whole universe. To see their moments of success when they say, yes, I can do that. And you know, the coolest thing is to work as a teacher. You always see the result.
Работать учителем, ты всегда видишь результат.
Никто играет, потому что они супер. Максим, я не хочу ресторан.
In my life, everything has always worked out so that everything came to me by itself. It wasn't like I would go and change all the textbooks because I'm not satisfied with it, or I would come up with other techniques. It wasn't like that. I have always had job offers, interesting job offers. They come up to me and said, Gulnar, you can do it. And I started working with an enthusiasm and excitement.
She was always surrounded by directors, head teachers of various schools. She taught and informed them how to practice particular standards in schools. When institutional bodies, ministries, or state bodies write the rules of the game in the form of laws, standards in schools, it may be not understandable, and Gulnar explained them everything that was written and showed them how it could be performed in their school in a competent, beautiful way, and make it really useful and not a formality.
Меня повысили на заместителя директора в Центре образовательных программ.
I was promoted to deputy director at the Center for Educational Programs at the Nazarbayev Intellectual Schools, where it was necessary to build all the work on the development of textbooks. But I came to this position without knowing absolutely anything about the development of textbooks. And in this short time, I needed to study the experience of other international organizations like Oxford in the development of textbooks.
Их подход в разработке учебников.
They believed her and received excellent textbooks. She's also the coordinator for the implementation of international baccalaureate programs of other systems. She knows every detail, and in this regard, a very large number of schools in Kazakhstan have received advice and training from her. She has made a very fine tuning of. And that's the path that makes her a real good mentor.
Подали заявку, как там обстановка происходит? Просто линза по цене то же самое, что и камера.
Многие
I know for sure that half of school children have experienced issues of educational inequality.
образовательного неравенства.
I mean children who is from rural areas. These are school children who studied a lot to achieve certain results. Education has a huge impact on me. I was a girl who was born in the village, lived in the village, and moved to the city. I can say that due to education, I achieved certain results.
Могу, наверное, сказать, что добилась определенных результатов.
Мен кейде ойлаймын,
Sometimes I think she graduated from the village school. When she studied at school, there was a severe shortage of teachers. Then she studied in a small class. 3 groups were in one classroom, and to my mind, that had a huge influence on Gulnar very much. We see people from one district, from one residential complex in one city. Even there may be educational inequality, which we do not notice. The public foundation was created in order to raise awareness, bring new leaders into the education system who are ready to solve the problem of educational inequality by providing them a pedagogical training. We have always had a difference between a village and a city, and in any socio-political sphere, they have always tried to erase this difference. And the fact that Gulnar raises this issue is quite understandable because she went through this.
Я думаю, что это очевидно, потому что она сама прошла через этот путь, что она поступала, то у нас был...
When she entered, we worried that our school is not a city school. At that time, we belonged to a district school. This difference needs to be removed so that every child of our Kazakhstan has equal opportunities and can apply for the best education.
возможности и мог претендовать на самые лучшие какие-то обучения.
Тут у нас описание идет, у нас здесь свободная ячейка есть. 1 миллион, 2 умножаем на 3.
Now children are more interested in a person himself, and not the person who can stand and say A plus B. They can learn about that on the internet. In fact, children read a lot, watch a lot, they can study it all themselves. And if a teacher is interesting as a person, he can present himself as a person who has social capital, professional capital, human capital. All this together make a portrait of an ideal teacher.
When I heard about the project, I thought it would be interesting to take part in it, but there was a doubt that this was some kind of light project, that it would not be resonantly, very effectively. Even we have seen changes in people.
Очень хорошо, очень резонансно, с очень большим эффектом. Мы видели изменения в людях.
Of course, when I presented the project, there was a lot of skepticism. Especially the pedagogical community did not believe how an engineer would become a teacher. I studied for 4 years, and here an engineer wants to become a teacher in 6 months. This is unrealistic. And it still exists. We treat it normally, but I would like to say that there is international experience. There is a successful experience of other countries where people who do not have a pedagogical education become cool teachers. Moreover, they remain in the education system and bring new experience.
The people who came to this project, they know that they must work in schools with social issues. Such schools are usually located in rural localities, isolated regions. There might be weak schools which are located even in the territory of a town. They have agreed on this. They want to be teachers and they have a mission to serve the public at the same time.
There are cases of students when they want to be teachers but enter the faculty of economists accidentally. They became economists because it was a will of their parents. Because there was not demand for specialists like teachers. When they get to know such projects, oh, I have dreamed about it and became a teacher of geography. There were also people who are successful businessmen who own shops or coffee shops. They said it was such a feeling that they have earned enough to be sure about their financial state and started thinking what I can do for the public, what I can do for our country. They thought about that and became our candidates. Some of them became our participants.
И некоторые из них даже стали уже впоследствии участниками.
Очень же много историй.
There are many stories when people say, I did not love chemistry, and thanks to a teacher, I loved chemistry. Because the person who came to teach, first of all, he loves chemistry and knows how to explain and tell. And this is the story about the fact that we bring right people in the system of education who are ready to work more and to study more in order to become a teacher and make a contribution in the development of a child.
И вносить свой вклад в развитие ребенка.
Мы должны решить. 2 третьей степени сказывания. Пожалуйста, про эту задачу. Давайте я сам посмотрю.
A true teacher knew how to find a way to the heart of his student. For example, to ask a child whether he understands the subject or not, what he had learned, what he had not. But some teachers cannot know that. He conducts classes, but some students are sitting and thinking hard about problems within family. Some students didn't eat anything. Nowadays, teachers don't pay attention to such situations.
Үйінде дұрыс тамақтанбай келуі де мүмкін. Міне сол кезде қазіргі мұғалімдер көп нәрсеге көңіл бөлмейді.
A potential good teacher is a person who possesses not only hard skills and knows his subject very well, but who has an excellent command of the school educational program, or who can explain history very well.
Или который классно может объяснить историю.
This is not enough to be a good teacher for a child. It is very important that the teacher motivates a child. That is, the teacher should instill faith in the child himself, in his abilities, in his dreams.
Ребенка, да, как в его способности, в его мечты.
Какому учителю попадет?
The academic path of the child depends on the teacher. If the teacher is good, if the teacher is kind, but at the same time deeply knowledgeable about his subject and, importantly, well-versed in the methodology, he will give the child knowledge, values, and skills. If a teacher misses something, it's good if parents can be supportive of a child. It's good if there is additional education. But if there is not, especially in regions with a complex context, then the chance of such a child to achieve success in life is either slightly reduced or this chance is removed for some time, unlike peers with a successful education.
The education system in our country and around the world is going through a crisis. All other directions due to development of the internet, huge digitalization, they quickly began to live differently. Each person can influence the education system, but to a large extent, these are professionals who work. These are people who are not indifferent to the education system. Everyone is concerned about the issues of education of the future. And if I can do something, I will do it. If you look at the map, we are not Europeans. We are not Asians either. In Central Asia, we have our own context and its own peculiarity. And women are very freedom-loving, peace-loving, super adaptive and militant. Kazakh women are not Oriental women, they are steppe women. It really relates to me. I would even say that Central Asian women are really steppe women. They are quickly adaptable, easily trained, result-oriented, always ready, taking into account the cultural context, the value context, customs and traditions, ready to sacrifice something somewhere, but at the same time, I would say they try not to lose themselves.
Того культурного контекста, того ценностного контекста, обычаи, да, традиции, готова где-то чем-то пожертвовать, но при этом стараются, я бы так сказала, не потерять себя. У меня вот такой...
I have a feeling that the potential, all the coolness of Central Asian women has not yet been revealed, and perhaps this will happen in the next maybe decades.
да, так скажем, может быть, десятилетия.